Good morning, everybody. You are not going to believe where I am today. Well, I'm a man of my word. I came up north and I'm out on Lake Ontario, about 5 miles out. I'm just north of the Salmon River in Port Ontario, up off the, I'm off the South Dune right at the moment, between the South Dune and the channel at Sandy Pond, in 100 to 115 foot of water. Big shout out to my two best buddies, Strike Zone Charter, Captain Todd Shelter, Captain Robin Shelter. I followed them out this morning. They put me on the spot where they've been catching browns every day with salmon mixed in. I figured the shallower the better, so I stayed in here. There's another group of boats outside of me. I'm going to say they're 130 to 150, and they're farther north, probably all the way up off the creeks on the east end here. And those guys up there in that deeper water, they're looking for those kings that come around from the north. They come up out of the trench, the shipping channel trench to the north, then they'll skirt their way down along the eastern shore. Everything in this lake, I mean, some of those fish on the west side over there, the southwest side by Oswego, are going to go up the Oswego, but most of these fish are coming east. The Salmon River gets the biggest returning run of salmon on this lake anywhere. And so as every passing day goes, those fish are making their way this way. Now there was a water release last weekend, and a few of these kings shot up there. They can't help it. They smell it and their body says it's time to go, even though it's not time to go for them. Those fish, if there's any of those fish left in the river, I'm sure they're dead by now. They've suffocated from lack of oxygen because that water is so warm and so low. They don't belong in the river yet, but it happens every year. I saw and there's a group of guys, God bless them, there's a group of guys that are traipsing that river that were out there first light last weekend looking to be the first king of the river season. So that's pretty cool. So I came out here this morning and I was set up with two programs, a vertical and a horizontal. My vertical program was in this water because I caught a goby first thing this morning. So I did catch a fish. I caught a goby on this. So this is a 4 or 5 ounce gold Hopkins spoon. And I did put a UV fly over the top of it just to give it some flash down there, because I'm one thing in the middle of a big body of water. So I thought I was going to give it some flash. If I had a way to add some sort of vibration or knock to that, or I could epoxy on some rattles or something like that. I think if I do this again, I'll do that a little differently. But I was just one thing in a big body of water, so I figured I'd give it as much flash as I could, and I was just drift jigging in 115 foot of water, just like you would for walleyes. I was casting it downwind, letting it settle. Believe it or not, you could watch it settle all the way down to 115 feet. And then I was ripping it like this back. And my buddies said that they were just out from me. They said they were seeing most all their fish suspended about 15 foot off bottom. So I would try to rip it high or take up some slack and bring it up. I don't know how well I was able to accomplish that, and I never caught anything. So, whatever. So then I also brought a trolling rod, and I was running a double. I was trolling big monster swim baits like you would troll in the ocean for stripers. Same size fish these kings are, or bigger. So I figured, why not? So I've got let's call that a 6 or a 7-inch paddle tail, blue, white, silver, orange belly. I'm assuming it's going to look like an alewife or a smelt, whatever down there. And that's on this is a 5 ounce pyramid head. And then I also put a crushed glow tinsel head, a Twinkie above it to give it a little bit of flash. And then 10 feet above that, off my swivel, I've got another 1 ounce smaller swim bait. This is a Yum Money minnow, actually. That great silver blue scale. You know, again, these would look very similar to, you know, that would be a big Michigan stinger, and this size would be a big mag Michigan stinger. So what I was doing with this is I bounced bottom with it, make sure I was down, good bottom contact, and then I would just kick the jet ski in gear. And this thing idles at 2 to 3 miles an hour. So I was right there in the neighborhood. I kept letting out line. I kept letting out line, hoping that in some way, shape, or form I might feel it ticking bottom, and then I could adjust accordingly. It's all sand out here. It's flat sand on the bottom of this end of the lake, and so you don't really feel anything. So at one point in the morning, I've been trolling. I've been anywheres from, I was bouncing bottom, you know, obviously straight up and down. I was bouncing bottom in 100 to 115, 120, and I started with as little as an extra 30 feet out, so I was at 150 all the way to 400. It's got 20-pound braid on this rod. I don't know if I'll break down and go buy a wire dipsy rod. I could definitely do everything I needed to do here with a wire dipsy and then also be able to run a spoon behind it. Now, in a perfect world, I want to catch a fish out here rod and reel, but you still got to find them. So, and I'm blind, so I'm assuming if I do this again, which I really feel like I'm gonna, I would get into the trolling pattern. You know, I know enough guys on this end, professional guys, that I could talk to whoever and get in the trolling program, get a wire rod in the water, hold it, because I have no kind of rod holder on here, like a trolling rod holder, and then I could hold it, get the wire down there, and really be trolling and have an idea that I'm putting something right in the ballpark at the right speed or damn close to it. So that's exciting. And in a one-man trolling operation like that with one rod on a jet ski, I think that's pretty cool too. So I'm definitely going to do this again as the fish get a little closer. I could have went out to Oswego today. You know, I know a few of those guys over there. I don't know everybody, and so I figured I'd stay on my own end where I know. Most of my career was over here, at least the last 15 years of it. So anyway, that's my day. It was a ton of fun. Boy, it was an amazing feeling taking this thing and just blasting out into the depths right at first light this morning. It was a rush. It was a rush, because if you look that way, so I'm going to give everybody, that's west, that's 9 Mile right there, and then if you won't be able to see it, but just to the right of that and at another greater distance, that's Oswego, the twin stacks at the coal towers. So from where I sit, 9 Mile plant, the nuclear plant, is 9 miles from me, and then 9 more miles past that is Oswego. So that's give or take 20 miles. Now you can see boats out here to my northwest. They're as much as 10 or 12 miles out over those. The farther you go to the northwest here on the east end, the farther you go to the northwest, the deeper it gets. You're going to go 8-10 miles before you start tickling the high 200, low 300 depths. You know, depends on your heading. The guys in Oswego get depth very, very quickly. You leave the harbor and you get about 100 foot of depth per mile offshore for the first 5 or 6 miles. It gets deep quick. On our end, it's much more gradual. You got to really go a ways. And I'm sure there's guys out there catching kings right now. So this is exciting. Boy, it brings up so many possibilities. But I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do this again, and it's going to work. I guarantee this is going to work. Be a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with me on Sunday Fun Day morning. I'm going home to get Courtney, load the other jet ski, and we're coming right back up here to spend the day on the beach at Sandy Pond and enjoy this beautiful summer Sunday afternoon. Thanks, everybody. Love you guys. Keep your tip up.